Hour number 3 of our 4-hour extravaganza. Welcome in Game Live, prime time on a special Sunday. Scott Wetzel, Joe Madden until 8 p.m. Eastern time. Got a couple of baseball games. We'll look at the All-Star game. We got the Home Run Derby. Go over some second-half futures. We got some NFL futures that we can look at as the season, at least the training camp anyway, opens up this week for most of the clubs, sometime Monday through Friday anyway. We got a little CFL action starting in about an hour. Joe's been on fire with that, so it'll be a busy couple of hours here. We got some guests lined up as well. Hour number 3, Cap Farrar will join us to do a little baseball talk with him at the bottom of the hour. So Arizona's come way back, down 7-0 at one point. We got the Twinkies down 2-0. They were once being no-hit. That's not the case. Seattle's up 2-0, Joe. They were once being no-hit. So are we going to get any more comebacks in baseball over the next couple of innings?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know if the LA Angels will come back here. This is a team that has been struggling to put those runs on the board. So I'm just not seeing really anything else happening in this game. I really could see it finishing 2-0 for the Mariners or 3-0 here for the Mariners. I think the Angels are done. Come back here for the Minnesota Twins. It's not out of question. We are going into the bottom of the 8th here, so we're going to have to see a really strong top of the 9th from the Twins. But I don't know, Scott. Everyone's ready for this All-Star break. I think if that comeback was coming, it would have came already. And I think the Diamondbacks continue to roll here. I think Toronto is frazzled out there. They're done. They're plus 140, though, if you have any faith in the Jays. I would be looking only at the Diamondbacks in this one. They're coming in at minus 180. Do you see anyone coming back in these games?
Not the Padres. If anybody, is Snell still pitching for San Francisco? Let me see, because he's had a low pitch count, as we pointed out a couple of times there. I would think yes, but you never know. That would be the one, just because I like Minnesota to start the game. And, no, they pulled him. See, I don't get that, Joe. These managers, I tell you, I hope Minnesota wins. I really do. Blake Snell pitching lights out, right? Great ball, only 80 pitches. We've talked about it. The guy normally takes about 75 pitches legitimately to get through 4 innings. He throws 90 through 5 and they yank him. He's thrown 80 through 7. He's thrown a one-hitter. He's struck out 8, walked none. I mean, the guy is pitching great in a 2-0 game. It's still anybody's game, and they yank him. I don't get it. Maybe the Giants end up winning. Who knows? But I just, this 2024 analytical baseball of the guy went 7 innings, so that's it. We can't allow him to pitch anymore when he's pitching the best game of by far this season. I don't get it. I just don't understand it. Why would you do that? I think we lost Joe. Last game before the All-Star break, so it's not like you need to worry about him. I don't know. I'm rooting now. I got money on Minnesota anyway, Joe, but now I'm really rooting for Minnesota to win this game just so we can throw it in the face of the Padres manager and say, you know what, Skip, stupid move.
Yeah, and we've seen that today. We've seen that with the Diamondbacks. They left Gallen out. We've seen that with the Jays. They left Kikuchi out. There's all of these managers that I don't know what they're doing. Last day before the All-Star break, get these pitchers out in these situations and then leave pitchers in like Blake Snell in those situations as well. But we have a game kicking off between the Atlanta Dream and the Seattle Storm. And the Atlanta Dream, Scott, I can't back them here. They're 1-9 in their last 10 games. We've seen the Seattle Storm be hot, winning their last 6. Do you have a bet in this one? This game has got underway. I am seeing a 6-5 game for the Atlanta Dream with them coming out strong to start this. Spread has moved to 12.5. It was 14.5 pregame. Was there anything that you liked?
I like the over. If in doubt, bet over in WNBA games. It was a big spread. If I had to, I'd probably take Atlanta just because they lose, but they don't lose that often by 14, 15 points. So that's where I would go. But I would definitely go with the over. It's 155.5. That's what it was pregame. So you're off to a halfway decent start. I see 7-6 now, through almost at the 6-minute mark of the first quarter. So, you're on pace, the normal pace there. But I'm going to go over 155.5, Joe.
Yeah, I think that is a really solid way to go in this game. You're only paying minus 113 to the over right now as well. That first half total is 76.5, and I like that to the over as well, minus 122, Scott. So I've got plays in both of those.
All right. Indiana, the Fever, did win on the road. They beat Minnesota today. There's 3.5, 4.5-point underdogs, which I thought was kind of low. Close game. They were actually down 8 points heading into the final quarter, but they outscored Minnesota 28-14 in the fourth. They shut the door on the Lynx rather than the other way around like it's normally been, and they win by 7. They're not a bad team, Joe. I'll give you the Caitlin Clark numbers, and then we'll go into the game a little bit. Clark finishes with 17 points, so she goes under her 17.5, 18.5-point total. Finished up with 6 assists. 2 of 11 from three-point land, so she's still not shooting well, but it is what it is. 5 of 17 overall, 6 turnovers. It's a lot, but they got the job done without seeing the game. I imagine she was the catalyst in the fourth quarter. So 81-74, and Indiana continues to win. We were kind of joking. If you go to Indy, I don't know what the attendance, well, I'll tell you what the attendance was. I'm not sure what Minnesota normally draws attendance-wise, but today, on a Sunday afternoon, there were 18,978 people at the Target Center. And that's more for the Minnesota Teacups game, right? I mean, that's a sold-out crowd. Now, think about it, right? Why are they going? I bet they, and just to make the story complete, let me go to another Minnesota Lynx home game. Minnesota against, and I'll pick, let's say Atlanta last month. That game, Minnesota had 8,000 people. So, and that's kind of been the average. She's been getting about 10,000 more people to go to Indiana Fever road games, right? So out of those extra 10,000, why are they going? They're going to see Caitlin Clark, right? So if you're going to see Caitlin Clark, who are you rooting for? You're rooting for Caitlin Clark, right? You're rooting for Indiana. Their road games are basically home games. You got more people going to that game rooting for Clark in Indiana than for the home team. So when Indiana's at home, the lines are big. They don't cover the spread. But when the lines are on the road, Vegas, which is a little dumb at times, views it as a road game. But in reality, there's more people there rooting for Clark in Indiana than, in this case, Minnesota. And you're getting a really good price. So,
yeah, you got to love what she's done for women's basketball. Really, the new fans that she has been able to bring in, there's so many people that weren't watching it before that really jumped on her hype in college and have followed her over to the WNBA. And as a fan of the WNBA and for all of the fans, you've got to love what it's done, Scott.
Yeah, listen, they got a couple things going for itself, right? I mean, one, they picked the best time. They're not dumb. I'll give them credit for that, right? They're playing when there's no football, there's no basketball, there's no NHL. There's nothing but baseball, and it's the dog days of summer. While there are baseball fans, you're always looking for something else. So that's the perfect time to play. And now they got a fresh new face that I just don't know, Joe, how long is the public going to, have this euphoria over her? Because she's good, and she's going to get better, but she's not spectacular, right? She's not a superstar. She's not putting up 25 points a game, and it's like, oh, my God. So that's not her. Maybe that'll be her game, but right now that's not her game. So I wonder, after she's been in the league and been to different markets from time to time, people realize that it's just, she's a good player, but she's not like she was in college. So anyway, we'll talk more about it when we come back in Game Live Prime Time.
One of the many exciting things about joining LIV was being able to come here and play in front of a Spanish crowd, especially on a level of event and level of competition that I hadn't really yet enjoyed, right? I've been able to play events in Spain.
Here in the beautiful Valderrama, which some say is the European Augusta, it's so special. There's so much history here. There's so much Spanish history here.
Well, it has so much history behind. It's only a 50 years old club, but so much has happened through the years. I mean, we had the Ryder Cup, we had World Gold Championships, and now we have LIV.
It's very exciting, and really, if there was ever a place to get my first win, I feel like this would be the perfect week.
I feel like when this wind at this golf course is so difficult that it's equally stressful no matter when or where you're playing it. But it was fun. It's always fun to be back home and be with the home crowd. It's always a joy to have this many people supporting me all day. It's so much fun.
What the heck course were you playing today?
I don't know.
It's brutal out there.
It is brutal. I don't know. I just made everything I looked at, Jerry. You have those days. I suppose this was one of those days for me, so I really shouldn't. I really enjoyed it. Every time I stood over a putt, just felt like I could make it, and you don't get days like that too often, or certainly I don't. So yeah, I relished in it, and I managed to hit a lot of good shots as well. So it was a special day.
Welcome back, In-Game Live, prime time here on the grid. Scott Wetzel and Judge O'Ban for the hour, 45 minutes or so. So we'll hit the baseball here in a second. But just to follow up on that point, right, Joe, I don't want to pee on anyone's parade here with Caitlin Clark, right? I don't want to be a naysayer. It's just that you just wonder when the euphoria is going to wear off, and the WNBA will go back to being the WNBA, and Caitlin Clark will go back to being just a pretty good player. I think people that go see her now are kind of like, it's kind of a weird comparison, but almost like an accident on the side of the road. Like, you got to stop and see, what, she's so good, she's going to do this, she's going to do that. Then you realize that, okay, that's not that exciting, and it's just a fender bender. So you no longer want to stop on the side of the road to watch the incident. You know, you don't want to really go out of your way to watch Caitlin Clark. It's no big deal. She's a nice player, fine. Plenty of good players in the WNBA, right? So that's when you wonder when it's all going to wear off.
Yeah, you crack me up. Caitlin Clark's just a fender bender. She is. I understand your point. Yeah, you've got to. And I think it becomes more of society these days, right? How people perceive athletes and how long our attention span lasts on one athlete out of another, Scott.
Right.
So I hear exactly what you're saying, but the attention span of most people isn't that long. You look at first round draft picks in the NFL, and how long do people really have that hype around them? If they don't come out and they don't play to the level people expect, you just don't see that hype either. So I think it will even out, but I think it's created so many more fans for the WNBA, and getting those fans in the seats. They'll return to games. They're going to go out. They're going to have a good time. They'll see Caitlin Clark, and then they'll become maybe fans of the Indiana Fever or fans of other teams because they've traveled to see her.
Yeah, but I'm sure it's got to incite the home team like Minnesota, even though they lost. But, right, I mean, as I mentioned, those extra 10,000 people, they're not going to see the Minnesota Lynx. They're going to go see Caitlin Clark. They're going to root her on. So it's got to be a little bizarre. But the Twinkies have come through. Touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. Oh, I love betting on teams that are being no-hit, Joe. I just do. I've said it 1,000 times. And it just comes out because once they break up that no-hitter, a little bit of a letdown. The dopey manager, the Giants, ends up taking out Blake Snell. And what happens? The relievers come in. They give up 2 runs in the top of the 9th inning, and we are tied at 2. Over 2.5 hits easily. Cha-ching, cha-ching. How about that? Way to go, Skip. Thanks for adding money to my pocket. What a
exactly.
dope.
took out Blake Snell. I still can't believe it. It just makes my head shake there. And Scott, good call on that over, because I was looking at that number going, we going to get those runs? So I didn't touch the under 2.5 because you said no. So everything is locked up right now. We're the top of the ninth. Only one out here for the Minnesota Twins as well. Do you think we get extra innings? I'm pretty sure. I don't see the Giants closing this out at the bottom of the ninth. Do you?
Well, they got to get through the top of the ninth, right? I still got a runner on second base with one out. So they got a lock now. I'm guessing there's a pitching change. That's why it's probably locked. So we'll see what over-under they give us. If they give us an over-under on that, I guess it would be, 4.5 or 5.5, maybe 6.5. So that'll be interesting. But I can't believe that, Joe. The guy's throwing a one-hitter. He's thrown to a minimum amount of batters, 21, because the one hit got wiped out by a double play. He's thrown 80 pitches. Every game this year, I think he's thrown more than 80 pitches, and he takes them out of the game. The guy's throwing his best game of maybe his career, for goodness sakes. Yeah. Bob Melvin, who's a decent manager, right? He's been around the league a little while, an older guy. Bob, what are you doing, Bob? This is why what are you doing? Yeah. Wow.
I don't understand it, and I'm not sure what's happening in the Jays game either. It looks like they're arguing with the refs right now. So we'll see what happens. I'm seeing the Jays up 8-7 in this one. I don't know, Scott. Something's happening.
You said Vlad Guerrero hit a home run, right? That's how Toronto snapped a 7-7 tie?
Yeah, Vladdy got it, which is good because Vladdy's been so quiet. Do you think at the trade deadline he's still with Toronto? I don't know if he is.
Yeah.
I think so.
Really?
You do? Yeah.
Yeah, he's the face of the franchise. He may not be having a great year, but boy, you trade him. I don't know what his contract situation is, but generally Toronto spends money, right? They don't really worry about that. Well, they better get a boatload for him, right? I mean, he's been a disappointment, but who hasn't this year?
Yeah, it's Toronto. Everyone's been disappointing on this team right now. So it'll be interesting to see what they're able to do. I just think something's not working in the locker room there. And I think, I think they have to make some big moves here for Toronto. I think they have to let some of these big contracts go, Scott, and bring in some new talent and just really start fresh with this team. It's just, they didn't make the big changes last year. They didn't make the big changes the year before, and it's costing them each and every season.
Yeah. They fired the manager 2 years ago at this time. Yeah. I remember that right around the All-Star break. And then they went on to make the playoffs 2 years ago, right? And then last year, not the case, back to just being Toronto, and this year it's not happening either. So maybe that would be – I'd be surprised. You live there, so – better than me. But I'd be real surprised if Toronto did that. Not shocked, but they would have to get a boatload back.
It would.
Because you talk about starting all over again. You get rid of him, you're starting all over again. So
really
I'll tell you what, you could probably get a nice little package for him. That's for sure. So, all right, bottom of the ninth they go. Minnesota didn't score any more, so it's 2-2. They're still not offering us any over-unders. But you can grab the Twinkies plus 150 if you think they're going to get out of the bottom of the ninth. And then you'll be holding on to a plus 150 ticket, which is pretty good to go in extra innings. Anything can happen in extra innings. Plus 158 even.
I don't think that. That's a nice bet.
Yeah. I think I'll do that too. I think I'll put a couple shekels on Minnesota. Just knowing that if they get through the bottom of the ninth, it'll go to Pick'em, and then I can bet, San Fran at Pick'em, and then we'll have a free plus 50 cents bet or so on Minnesota. So, Seattle 2-0 over the Angels, bottom of the eighth. Braves scored, or Padres scored a couple to make that one 5-3. We'll update all the lines when we come back in Game Live, prime time.
one of the many exciting things about joining Live was being able to come here and play in front of a Spanish crowd, especially on a level of event and level of competition that I hadn't really yet enjoyed, right? I've been able to play events in Spain.
Here in the beautiful Valderrama, which some say is the European Augusta, it's so special. There's so much history here. There's so much Spanish history here.
Well, it has so much history behind. It's only a 50 years old club, but so much has happened through the years. I mean, we had the Ryder Cup, we had World Gold Championships, and now we have Live.
It's very exciting, and really, if there was ever a place to get my first win, I feel like this would be the perfect week.
I feel like when there's this wind at this golf course is so difficult that it's equally stressful no matter when or where you're playing it. But it was fun. It's always fun to be back home and be with the home crowd. It's always a joy to have this many people supporting me all day. It's so much fun.
What the heck course were you playing today?
I don't know.
It's
I
brutal
mean,
out there.
It is brutal. I don't know. I just made everything I looked at, Jerry. You have those days. I suppose this was one of those days for me, so I really shouldn't. I really enjoyed it. Every time I stood over a putt, just felt like I could make it, and you don't get days like that too often, or certainly I don't. So yeah, I relished in it, and I managed to hit a lot of good shots as well. So it was a special day.
All right, welcome back. In-game live, prime time here on a Sunday evening, early evening on the East Coast, afternoon still on the West Coast. Scott Wetzel, Joe Madden, watching some baseball games. We get to some NFL futures. How about that in a little bit? We got some baseball stuff with the All-Star game being on Tuesday. Then we get the home run hitting derby tomorrow. We'll touch on that as well. So as soon as we finish up some of these games, then we'll move on to those things. You know what? I don't see. Did the Giants? They did. Wow. Mike Yastrzemski with an RBI triple, and the Giants win 3-2 in the bottom of the ninth inning. How about that?
Wow.
The game went over, so put a little flyer on Minnesota at the plus 154, but Yastrzemski comes through. Captain Carl's nephew, I can't really be mad about that. My all-time favorite player. So good win for the Giants. That would have been a tough loss.
Yeah, tough loss for Minnesota Twins when they made that push to be able to come back. I'm still holding my breath in that under 4.5 that we jumped on between the Seattle Mariners and the LA Angels. That total sitting live at 3.5 to the under at minus 128 right now. The LA Angels have a runner on first with no outs here at the bottom of the 8th. Scott, how are you feeling about this low total right now?
I'm okay. 4.5. That's still. Listen, it's going to go over if the Angels tie, obviously. Yeah. But we knew that going in. Seattle can't hit their way out of a paper bag, so we were pretty confident that Seattle really wouldn't be scoring anymore. So 4.5. Like I said, they got a runner on, but that's okay. We got a run to give. And in case Seattle scores another run to give. So we could bail. We could try and middle it, but we've had a pretty good day, so I don't think I will. Like I said, I'm still okay with the runner on base with nobody out in the 8th inning, giving up 2 runs. There's a reason why it's 3.5 too, right? They're not giving us 4.5 anymore because they realize 4.5 would be a really good bet right now. So,
and I don't
little
think
worried
we've
with
seen
the Braves. The Braves scored again. Never mind.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't think we've seen the LA Angels really threatening where they've been in a position with runners on third, right? I think this has been a case where Angels have only got runners on first and second every time I seem to look, at least, Scott.
Yeah. But they haven't been able to score. So knock yourself out. You want to grab the Angels plus 330 if you think they are going to come back.
I can't do it.
Number, but I like that Seattle bullpen, so I wouldn't and it's the Angels, right? So,
What do you think
Get
of Mike
better.
Trout coming back?
did he come back today? I didn't even know that. Tell you the
No,
truth.
he didn't come back today. He's the
Oh.
talks of Mike Trout coming back. Right? Like,
Oh.
how long do we give him when he comes back? A week?
Yeah,
back
before he
out?
gets hurt again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for coming back now when the season's over for the Angels. Way to go, Mikey. Yeah, all these important games that he's going to play in with the Angels being 11 games out of first place and 15 games under 500. So typical Mike Trout if he does come back, right? It's so typical. And you watch, he'll do well, Joe. He'll put up some decent numbers for the amount of playing time he's going to play. But once again, the guy's going to hit in meaningless baseball games. No pressure, no anything, nobody in the stands. And he'll end up with 25 home runs or 20 home runs. And people are like, oh, the greatest thing in the world. So are they saying he's finally going to come back? Yeah. He might as well
There's
sit out the
talk.
entire year at this point.
Yeah, there's talks of him
Yeah.
coming back. I wouldn't be shocked if we see him back out a week after the All-Star break. And you're right. I'm going to be looking at his home run props because we know he's going to come out. He's going to play solid. And then I do think he goes back out with some sort of injury and then doesn't finish up the season there for the LA Angels. But I think he gets enough play time in that we can make some money off of him. The Braves sitting 6-3 over the Padres right now. Scott, what are you liking in this one? We got 9 runs. We're the bottom of the 8th. They're giving us a total of 9.5, minus 120 to the over. Are we going to get one more run? That's all we need is one more run in this game to cash that bet.
They got it locked up.
just
They
used
just
it.
locked it up.
Yeah.
So could that one run be coming now at 6-3, bottom 8? Maybe a little home run.
Maybe.
We'll see. All right, hold your breath on that one. Still Toronto 8-7 over Arizona. They got through the top of the 7th. Whatever they were arguing about to no avail. So bottom 7 we go. Get the Toronto bullpen. You get a fat little plus 205. That's,
Wow.
that's pretty good for a team with 3 at-bats with 7 runs on the board. I take a little flyer on that one. So, Cap Farrar joins us. We'll do some baseball stuff with him. Pub Sports Radio next right here on The Grid.
One of the many exciting things about joining Live was being able to come here and play in front of a Spanish crowd, especially on a level of event and level of competition that I hadn't really yet enjoyed, right? I've been able to play events in Spain.
Here in the beautiful Valderrama, which some say is the European Augusta, it's so special. There's so much history here. There's so much Spanish history here.
Well, it has so much history behind. It's only a 50 years old club, but so much has happened through the years. I mean, we had the Ryder Cup, we had World Gold Championships, and now we have Liv.
It's very exciting, and really, if there was ever a place to get my first win, I feel like this would be the perfect week.
I feel like when this wind in this golf course is so difficult that it's equally stressful no matter when or where you're playing it. But it was fun. It's always fun to be back home and be with the home crowd. It's always a joy to have this many people supporting me all day. It's so much fun.
What the heck course were you playing today?
I don't know.
It's
I mean,
brutal out there.
It is brutal. I don't know. I just made everything I looked at, Jerry. You have those days. I suppose this is one of those days for me, so I really shouldn't. I really enjoyed it. Every time I stood over a putt, just felt like I could make it, and you don't get days like that too often, or certainly I don't. So yeah, I relished in it, and I managed to hit a lot of good shots as well. So it was a special day.
All right, welcome back. In-game live, prime time here on The Grid. Scott Wetzel, Joe Madden, watching some baseball, little WNBA. We got CFL starting top of the hour. We'll preview that. But let's keep our attention on MLB. We got a couple of games going on. We got the All-Star break, little home run derby. We get some thoughts from Cab Farrar from Pub Sports Radio. Joins us from time to time, as he does right now. What's going on, Cab? How are you tonight?
Oh, I'm doing good, doing good. You know, just going over, like you said, a little bit of the home run prices for the home run derby, trying to decide where I'm going to put my money at. I think I've come up with my conclusion. Still watching baseball, but at this point, if you're not already sweating some action, you're basically looking at whatever the opposite of a nerfy or a yerfy is.
Well, we have seen the LA Angels come back. They killed the under 4.5. They have 3 runs over the Seattle Mariners right now, 3-2 for the LA Angels. I didn't see this coming. I thought the Angels were dead in the water. Cap, did you have anything before we look at the home run derby in this game? And are you shocked that the Angels were able to make that comeback?
Not so much shocked, I would say. I don't have something in this game, but what I do have is a future at plus 283 for the Astros to win the division. I took it a ways back. I think we see the same thing, year in and year out with this Mariners team. They've got great starting pitching, possibly one of the best starting pitching rotations in baseball. But they don't hit. They don't put up enough runs. It's the 8th inning. You're down 3-2. You were up, 2-0? Score some more runs. Don't get comfortable with the lead. And that's something the Mariners just seem like they won't do. I personally wouldn't bet this game. Maybe I'd look at it under wherever the total's at right now, especially since the Mariners are on the road. You're not going to get a bottom of the 9th. So maybe look at it under. But, again, that's like betting a nerfy, basically, at this point. So,
Yeah.
What'd you have today? And before we get to the All-Star stuff, Cab, and what'd you have today? Then are there any of the other games in progress that you like right now?
So I did have a team total over with the Braves. I'm excited at that. Cool. People want to hear our action we're looking at. If I was going to bet right now, and let me pull up and see what the odds are. We just ended the 7th inning. The Blue Jays are up 7-8 or 8-7, on the Diamondbacks. I would probably look at the Diamondbacks here. You still got 2 full innings of baseball left, so it's not down to that last inning. And right now you can get the Diamondbacks at plus 248. So I think that's worth a shot right here. The Diamondbacks have something to play for. The Blue Jays were already up at one point in this game, 7-0, and they gave up that 7-run inning to tie the game. I still think they're susceptible to give up more runs here. I would go with the Diamondbacks live right now. That'd be the best bet. You know what? I'll do it. But I'm not. This is not a large bet. I'm going to put a little bit on the Diamondbacks right now.
Couple shekels, as we like to say, right, Joe?
Yeah, exactly. Fading the Toronto Blue Jays, you can never go wrong with that, hitting on the Arizona Diamondbacks. I love it because I took them pre-game and I jumped in on them before the Grand Slam that hit on Zach Allen. So hoping to make some money on that. But you were talking about the home run derby. Who are you really high on in the home run derby here? Pete Alonso coming in as the favorite at plus 300. Do you think he has the possibility of pulling it off like the books think?
I mean, we've seen him do it multiple times, so I definitely think that he has the possibility of doing it, and I think I understand, why he's the favorite. I'll probably take a couple shots here. As I've been looking through it, one person who I think, won't surprise anyone, but at 550, Bobby Witt Jr. is I think there's value because, he leads the field in max velocity. He's hit a ball 116.6 miles per hour this year. That leads all of baseball. If you look into some of his other stats also, he has the longest home run. It's 22 feet ahead of Alonso and Ozuna, who are tied for second. He has the most no doubt home runs this year out of the entire field. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to point to Bobby Witt here, and at plus 550, I think it's absolutely worth the shot. So I'll be taking a chance on Bobby Witt. And then on the other side, I'm going to roll with Ozuna. I like Ozuna also. I think, as you guys say, a few shekels. I'm just going to spread a little bit of money between these two people. This round's going to be a little different. The first round this year, it's not a head-to-head like it has been. The 4 players with the most home runs are going to advance to the next round. And then they'll be seeded for the head-to-head knockout style in the semifinals. So a little bit different. But I like Ozuna, and I like Bobby Witt Jr. Those are the 2 places I think I'm going to look at.
All right. Jerry, I would imagine, as you're kind of alluding to there, right, Cal? I mean, you don't put serious money on this stuff. I mean, I credit you for even being able to analyze it, because it's just like, who knows how these guys are going to react to this thing, So couple shekels, right? Nothing crazy on this stuff.
Exactly. Pizza money, as some people say, or tequila money, however you want to say it. A couple shekels, 1 unit, whatever term is a term that's not going to lose you your mortgage or something like that. Yeah. So, something to make it interesting, and you can slap your buddy and say, "Hey, that's who I picked." If you do win.
Right. It's the classic. It's on TV, so I have to bet it. And you're right. If you pick the winners, like I do it all along. How about the game itself? I mean, I do like the under. If you look at the scores of the previous, 25 or so All-Star games, man, there's not that many. You can count literally on one hand how many games have had more than 8 runs. So I'm a little surprised the number is 8, not 7.5. Game is basically pick 'em. American League minus 116. National League minus 102 on FanDuel. Any sides for the All-Star game itself Tuesday?
You said it right off the top. I think you just go under. If you've got to bet it, you just go under. Speaking from a baseball perspective, when hitters don't have any adrenaline or any reason to hyper focus in on an at bat, and you're going against the best pitchers in the league, it's not easy, and you're not going to see, a ton of success in that type of situation, because these hitters are not completely locked in. This is a vacation for them. They're having fun. They're smiling. They're enjoying themselves. And I think it's a little harder for a pitcher to quantify that. You're still on the mound, soloed out up there. I think it's a pitcher's dream, and the hitters are a little bit of a disadvantage. So I like the under.
Yeah, I like the under too. The under 8 coming in right now on FanDuel at minus 118. If you guys want to jump in on it, who do you think though could be dialed in and get that MVP? Who's the most competitive guy out there that's going to want to show up everyone else? Ohtani coming in as a favorite at plus 900, followed by Aaron Judge, Bryce Harper, and Gunnar Henderson. Is there anyone that you'd throw some tequila money on? I've never heard tequila money, but I like that one.
Right. Again, I'm seeing the numbers there beside me at Bobby Witt Jr. at plus 470. I don't hate that. I'm a big fan of Bobby Witt, and I think he's going to kind of show out in this All-Star game. I think he's been doing it all season. I think out of all the teams who are playing up that I wouldn't have expected, it's the Royals. And I know they've faltered a little bit since the start, but they're a young squad, and they've got a lot of energy, and I think he's going to bring that energy to the All-Star game. Again, I go to the focus, right? Like, what does it mean to some of these hitters? Some of these veteran hitters, they don't care. They're just there to have a good time, and that's fine. That's what they should be doing. I think somebody like Bobby Witt's going to be a little bit more focused, in his first at bat when he's in the All-Star game.
I see him at plus 2,000 on FanDuel, just to let you know.
Okay, there you go. Little goofy, but you said it, Kat. We're looking for guys that'll be pumped up for this, right? So how about National League starting pitcher Paul Skeens? FanDuel's offering 3 up, 3 down first inning at plus 160. If you want to go goofy with strikeouts, you 2 strikeouts plus 170, 3 strikeouts 10-1. But the plus 160, 3 up, 3 down is intriguing to me.
And you said plus 2 strikeouts at plus 160 also. I think both of those are great bets, Scott. I think you might have just found something that I might actually want to bet.
Ooh, how about that?
It's hard for me to bet a game like this, like we've gone over, but I think those are good looks right there. I think he's going to show up and he's going to do exactly what he's supposed to do. There's all the talk, should he be getting in this spot or shouldn't he? This game is for the fans. Absolutely, Paul Skeens should be starting. He is the talk of baseball right now as far as pitcher goes. I'm 100% for him starting, and I think he's going to do a great job. I think those are wonderful bets.
Yeah, plus money with those looking pretty good. Cab Farrar, Pub Sports Radio, the place to find them. Google it, and I'm sure you'll be able to track them down for sure as we talk from time to time. Cab, great job. Appreciate it, my friend. Have a great Sunday night.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Cab.
One of the many exciting things about joining LIV was being able to come here and play in front of a Spanish crowd, especially on a level of event and level of competition that I hadn't really yet enjoyed. Right, I've been able to play events in Spain.
Here in the beautiful Valderrama, which some say is the European Augusta, it's so special. There's so much history here. There's so much Spanish history here.
Well, it has so much history behind. It's only a 50 years old club, but so much has happened through the years. I mean, we had the Ryder Cup, we had World Golf Championships, and now we have LIV.
It's very exciting, and really, if there was ever a place to get my first win, I feel like this would be the perfect week.
I feel like when this wind in this golf course is so difficult that it's equally stressful no matter when or where you're playing it. But it was fun. It's always fun to be back home and be with the home crowd. It's always a joy to have this many people supporting me all day. It's so much fun.
What the heck course were you playing today?
I don't know.
It's brutal out there.
It is brutal. I don't know. I just made everything I looked at, Jerry. You have those days. I suppose this is one of those days for me, so I really shouldn't. I really enjoyed it. Every time I stood over a putt, just felt like I could make it, and you don't get days like that too often, or certainly I don't. So yeah, I relished in it, and I managed to hit a lot of good shots as well. So it was a special day.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, prime time here on the grid. Thanks again, Cap Farrar, for joining us. Pub Sports Radio is the place. You can Google that. I'm sure you can find it on your, obviously, most podcast stores. So Pub Sports Radio in different places around the country, I'm sure. So they do have goofy odds and different things with the All-Star Game, Joe. Like we said with Cap, I mean, I wouldn't put a whole lot on this stuff. A couple shekels to make it interesting. We'll start with the home run derby tomorrow as far as the actual winner before we get into some of the other props that they allow in the home run derby, which is a prop in itself. But, I mean, Alonso 3-1 looks to be the obvious one, right? He's been there a gazillion times. One of the new guys going to kind of take over, you know. Who knows? I mean, like I said, at this point, I have no idea. It's anyone's guess. The game is in Texas. So I'd probably throw a little flyer at Adolis Garcia since he's a Texas Ranger, just playing a hunch. These guys get motivated, maybe a little bit more so than others. But any thoughts? That's where I would, if I was going to throw a dart, it would be on Adolis Garcia at 5-1 because he's a Texas Ranger.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's a good way to go. I was looking over on FanDuel at a couple other things, and if you're looking for one of those new guys to be able to come out and win it, you can take any of the newer players to come out and win it at -168. So it's juice there, Scott. I'm looking to bet some more fun things instead of the straight up winner. The longest home run hit. What do you think of this? Over 483.5 feet. That's coming in at -112. I do think we see a ball go super deep in this one, going over that number of 483.5. And at -112, I'd rather take that kind of shot than predict who comes out here so solid. I'm like you. I would look at someone other than Pete Alonso just because I want some more value for that home run. But I'm looking at the longest feet, I think.
All right. I would, I know the inclination is to go over on that, right? But I think historically, since they've been doing this and measuring them, which has not been that long, literally a couple of years, that number it's gone increasingly lower. So I remember the first time they offered this, maybe 3 years ago, 2-3 years ago, it was like close to 500 feet. And I remember betting the over thinking, oh yeah, someone's going to crush the ball. And they didn't. And last year, kind of the same thing. So, without a ball coming at you 100 miles an hour, it's tough to then hit that ball 500 feet, which is basically what you're asking. These guys are strong. Yeah. They're not that strong. It takes muscle, to hit the ball that far. because the ball's coming in at you so slow. So I actually would lean towards the under. I know it's Texas,
Okay.
you know, in dead heat, middle of summer, that ball should fly. I don't trust the numbers. I will say that I think they probably increased the numbers, so you probably have them on your side. But to hit a ball 484 feet legitimately, that's a long home run. Most home runs in games go about 410 to 420.
Yeah.
You know, and when you hear someone hit it like a bomb, it's like, oh, he hit a ball 440 feet. You know, so you got to go another 50 feet past that. I would say
That is
no.
true. I think
I
it
would go
dropped
under.
though from last year. I thought for sure we
Yo,
were
it did.
492.
Definitely.
That's sticking in my
Yeah.
head from last year.
Yep,
So
so-
I don't know,
something like
283 and
that.
a half. Yeah, I'm leaning over, Scott. I'm still going to put a little bit of money on the over. Who do you think would get the longest home run here? If we could see that power come out, do you think it would be Bobby Witt Jr.? We know Cab was really strong on Bobby Witt Jr. for him overall in this competition. He's coming in at plus 170. Gunnar Henderson, he's one that you're getting so much value. He's coming in at plus 650. Is there anyone that really stands out to you? I'm going to stay off Pete Alonso because I think even though he's not the favorite to have the longest hit, Pete Alonso, I think we're not getting as much value because he has been so strong in this competition before. So he's only coming in at plus 460.
Yeah, he's the third choice at 460.
Yeah.
It's funny, you get much, much, much better odds on who's going to hit the longest home run than you are, you know, the home run derby itself. You know, home run derby, there's 8 guys, right? So there's 8 possibilities, yet you only have 3 that are over 8-1. And that's Hernandez, Ramirez, and Bohm.
Mm-hmm.
So I might be losing my electricity. Lights are flickering here. Whereas with the home run longest ball hit, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, well, 4, but then Gunnar Henderson almost. So you know, 5 basically guys that if you pick one, you're going to at least break even. So who knows? I'd have to Google it honestly to figure out how many guys have hit 400, you know, plus feet home runs to really get a better view.
Yeah.
Clearly, Witt Jr. must be the odds, you know, one that has the most because he's the overwhelming, if you will, favorite at plus 170. But the one I kind of like that I could do a little research, and I'll do some research on that one too, but over under total home runs by everybody in the contest.
Ooh.
268 and a half. Now, I have no idea at this point. Is that a high number or a low number, Scott? Don't know. I'm going to have to go back and look at the last 2-3 home run derbies and add them all up. Little different way they're doing it this year, which is good because they're taking the top 4 players in the first round, unlike a head-to-head, where if the first guy, the guy you're matching up, has 15 home runs, you hit 16, boom, you stop. You know, whereas this case, you're not going to stop. You're going to continue because you don't know what the other guys after you're going to do. So
Now you can-
that said, I'd lean towards the over, but we'll see.
Yeah, and you can parlay those top 4. Who you think will make it
Really?
to the semifinals? Yeah, under home run derby to make the semifinals, 4 players that you can pick there and get those odds in a parlay. So who do you think, Scott? Should we build one here?
Wow.
You think Bobby Witt? And you know, you're going to have to lay the juice on these guys, but when you parlay 4 of them together, make that top 4, it's going to be worth it.
Yeah. I mean, you got to figure he's going to get in the top 4, right? If head-to-head, who knows, anything could happen. But I don't think 5 guys are going to hit more home runs than him. So, yeah, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We got to get the CFL in because that starts top of the hour. And then let's see if we can build one of these parlays and pick the 4 guys that are going to be in the Final Four. And make some shekels with the home run derby for tomorrow. So, in-game live, prime time here on the Grid.
One of the many exciting things about joining Live was being able to come here and play in front of a Spanish crowd, especially on a level of event and level of competition that I hadn't really yet enjoyed. Right, I've been able to play events in Spain.
Here in the beautiful Valderrama, which some say is the European Augusta, it's so special. There's so much history here. There's so much Spanish history here.
Well, it has so much history behind. It's only a 50 years old club, but so much has happened through the years. I mean, we had the Ryder Cup, we had World Golf Championships, and now we have LIV.
It's very exciting, and really, if there was ever a place to get my first win, I feel like this would be the perfect week.
I feel like when there's this wind in this golf course is so difficult that it's equally stressful no matter when or where you're playing it. But it was fun. It's always fun to be back home and be with the home crowd. It's always a joy to have this many people supporting me all day. It's so much fun.
What the heck course were you playing today?
I don't know.
It's brutal out there.
It is brutal. I don't know. I just made everything I looked at, Jerry. You have those days. I suppose this is one of those days for me, so I really shouldn't. I really enjoyed it. Every time I stood over a putt, just felt like I could make it, and you don't get days like that too often, or certainly I don't. So yeah, I relished in it, and I managed to hit a lot of good shots as well. So it was a special day.
Oh, welcome back in Game Live, prime time. Love finding little nuggets, Joe. Oh, did I find a good one, I think. So we're going to have to break this down. Scott, what's the Joe Madden? So, pretend you don't know anything about the Home Run Derby. You don't know who's in it. Well, you can know who's in it. But all the numbers that we spoke about before, just pretend to wipe it from your memory bank, right? So you tell me, if you're an odds maker, what would you make the home run over-under number be, knowing that last year there were 341 home runs hit in the Home Run Derby? 2 years ago, there were 291 home runs hit in the Home Run Derby. And then 3 years ago, we'll stop it there, there were 309 home runs hit in the Home Run Derby. So if knowing that, 341, 291, and 309, roughly what number would you give me for total home runs this year?
Well, when you consider 2021 was in Colorado, so that was 3 years ago, right? And how many was that?
Okay, yep.
341?
309.
309.
309.
Only 309 in Colorado. So I would look at 287 for in Texas.
Right. I would have said a little more. Last year, but good thinking there with the places. 2021 was Coors Field. Yeah, 2022. I should have wrote this down. Guys, look up where it was last year. Where was it last year 2 years ago? Anybody remember? It doesn't matter. What's the difference? But now go back to the number they're giving us this year. 268.5. We had 341 last year. We had 291 2 years ago, and 309 3 years ago, albeit in Coors Field. And they're giving us 268.5. What am I missing? I know the format has changed, and you don't have the head-to-head, so you're not going to have a guy stopping because he's beating his head-to-head competition, but you will have guys that know they're going to be in the top, if you're the last batter or two, and if you've hit the top four, you're going to stop. I mean, so you kind of have that to balance off the non-stopping because it's not head-to-head, but I think those kind of, balance each other out. I mean, how are we not getting 269 home runs when we've averaged, over 300 the last 3 years?
I'm with you. I think that's a straight over bet.
Right?
What are we getting on the over on that one, Scott? We laying a lot of juice?
What do they got? I don't think it was very much juice. No juice. Minus 120.
Okay, and we look at the bats out
Little
there.
juice.
Yeah, these are
These
great
guys
who can hit
these-
that ball deep.
Yeah. You actually have this year, a lot of guys in the top 10 for home runs. So
I love it.
What are we missing? Right? I mean, 268 and a half on FanDuel. And you know how these things go. Don't wait until tomorrow, because after we talk about it here for 10 minutes, it's going to be 278, before we get off the air here. That has happened. So I don't know. I mean, help me out, people. Like I said, I know the format has changed, but it's in Texas too, Joe. It may not be Coors Field, but you talk about a launching pad. Texas in July, that is it. So it's not
Nice,
like it's
humid
not in a
weather.
home run hitter's ballpark.
Exactly. I'm going over. I'm going over all day.
I'm thinking like major bet.
Yeah. Can
Major
we alt
bet.
that
I mean,
number?
not major bet, but like a full unit, like a serious bet. I mean, 260.
Do they give us any alt numbers, Scott? Can we alt it up to
No.
over 290? No?
Today
Man, I
they
wish we
don't.
did. Okay.
Tomorrow you never know, as we were talking in the break. When they have the goofy things like this, a lot of these props don't come until that day for whatever reason. So we might get a few more. You might be able to alt it over tomorrow. And if that's the case, Joe, that's I would alt it all the way up to 300 if they gave us odds.
Would I?
Right? And we've had 300 2 of the last 3 years. So how many rounds is that? That's 8. That's 8 rounds. That's 16 batters. That's 24 batters. That's about 30 batters when everything is said and done. You get everybody, not just the winners. You're getting everybody. I don't
Going
know.
over. Give me the over. Love it.
Yeah. Let me analyze this for 2 more minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll do our CFL action as well. This looks too good to be true, and you know what to do when that happens.
One of the many exciting things about joining Live was being able to come here and play in front of a Spanish crowd, especially on a level of event and level of competition that I hadn't really yet enjoyed. Right, I've been able to play events in Spain.
Here in the beautiful Valderrama, which some say is the European Augusta. It's so special. There's so much history here. There's so much Spanish history here.
Well, it has so much history behind. It's only a 50 years old club, but so much has happened through the years. I mean, we had the Ryder Cup, we had World Gold Championships, and now we have Liv.
It's very exciting, and really, if there was ever a place to get my first win, I feel like this would be the perfect week.
I feel like when this windy, this golf course is so difficult that it's equally stressful no matter when or where you're playing it. But it was fun. It's always fun to be back home and be with the home crowd. It's always a joy to have this many people supporting me all day. It's so much fun.
What the heck course were you playing today?
I don't know.
It's brutal out there.
It is brutal. I don't know. I just made everything I looked at, Jerry. You have those days. I suppose this was one of those days for me, so I really shouldn't. I really enjoyed it. Every time I stood over a putt, just felt like I could make it, and you don't get days like that too often, or certainly I don't. So yeah, I relished in it, and I managed to hit a lot of good shots as well. So it was a special day.
welcome back in Game Live, prime time here on the grid. Hour number 4 of our 4-hour extravaganza. Scott Wetzel, Joe Madden on a spectacular Sunday afternoon, trying to figure out the home run hitting derby. We'll get to that in a second because there are some changes for this year where we're trying to figure out why the over-under number is so low at 268.5, knowing that we've averaged over 300 home runs the last 3 years combined. So we'll get to that, Joe, in a second, but we do have CFL action starting here. We're having a whole lot of success. I know it's a CFL, but the CFL is like the WNBA in that, what's the difference if you don't follow it? If you can get success betting it, who cares if you follow it or not? You're giving us a ton of winners. We've had some luck with some of the overs and different plays over the last few weeks. So where are we going tonight? CFL action, one game starting in about 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, this game kicking off right away between the Ottawa Redblacks and the Edmonton Elks. Now, the Edmonton Elks are a scary team to back. They're sitting 0-4 on the season, but they've been strong against that spread, 3-1 against the spread. And we know over the last couple of years, there are struggles at home, but I do think this is a prime opportunity for the Edmonton Elks to finally get a win on the season. You're coming in here, you got to lay 3.5 with them here on that spread at -110. And I do think they could win this by 4 points. I think a better way to look at this, though, Scott, is we looked at the quarterback yesterday, Vernon Adams Jr., to have a big day. And Bethel Thompson here of the Edmonton Elks, he's going up against one of the worst secondaries here in the Ottawa Redblacks. And I do think even though he's had those turnovers and thrown those interceptions, we're going to see him have success out there with his arm. I'm looking at him. Over the 4 games that he's played, he's thrown 1,225 passing yards. So he's got a strong average of 310 passing yards per game. He's 306 passing yards per game. His number today is 310.5 to the over, and I'm going to hit that there. I do think he can have that success on the secondary here of the Red Blacks. I'm also going to take him over 2.5 passing touchdowns. We saw him versus the Argos 2 weeks ago be able to put up 4 passing touchdowns, over the 2.5 passing touchdowns coming in at +130. I do think the Red Blacks are stronger on the ground than they are through the air. So looking for him to have success in both of those markets. Again, I'm kind of cautious laying the 3.5 because of Edmonton's struggles, sitting 0-4 on the season. But again, they've been able to be strong in those games. They're coming off a game versus the BC Lions that we just saw play yesterday, that they were able to keep it tight with them. And if they're able to keep it tight with the BC Lions, they should run over the Ottawa Redblacks here. The interesting thing, Scott, is there's limited teams in the CFL. These teams will return to Ottawa next week to play each other again. And we're seeing the Ottawa Redblacks only a 1.5 point favorite in that matchup. I'm going to be taking Saskatchewan for both of these games. You look at both of these teams, they are stronger on the road than they are at home. But I do think the Edmonton Elks season starts turning around with this game here. It's just that spread is just so many points to lay with them. I'm not going to look there, but I do think their quarterback has a nice big day. You're going to cash on him for over on his passing yards and over on his touchdowns today, Scott.
All right. You can parlay those too on FanDuel anyway, which I just did. It's almost 2-1, not quite. In a normal parlay, it's plus 260, but this is kind of correlated. So you can go over his yards and then over 2.5 touchdowns. And then it comes out to, like I said, basically 2-1. So I'm going to play that. And I like it, Joe. If the over-under is 50 or more, as it is here, then that tells me you're going to get some passing yards. You're going to get some points. The other team, knows the other team can score, so they're not going to take the foot off the pedal. Whereas if it's a lower scoring game, sometimes up 2 touchdowns, maybe they would. They go conservative. So how about you have that goofy big play prop that we saw last night in the game?
You're going to laugh, Scott. I wanted to put a big play prop in. Guess what? It doesn't exist for this game. It existed yesterday.
Really?
We talked about it. It's gone. It's off the board. We hit 3 big plays yesterday at +250 to 255. Vernon Adams Jr. had some phenomenal passes down the field. The big plays counted as 3+ receptions over 30 yards, he had a 55, a 47, and a 30 something. So he had those 4 big plays. They came in really nicely in this game. I want to look at it as well. While Bethel Thompson has thrown some interceptions, had those issues with turning that ball over, he makes those big plays out there. So I was hoping to cash that one again. We can't get it. Hopefully it's back for the next game. I was just shocked. I went through every single tab on FanDuel going, where the heck did I find this yesterday? And I can't find it today, but this should be a good game. You've also got 2 of the best defensive backs of the Ottawa Redblacks out on the IL. So I think
nice.
Edmonton's going to walk all over the secondary. I'd look at their team total to the over before I looked here at the game to the over. Dustin Crum, it's either Dustin Crum or Drew Brown. I can't find who's really going to start here for Ottawa. Drew Brown, the starting quarterback, but Dustin Crum is confident. I'm just not confident enough in the Ottawa Redblacks to be able to count on them for any points in this one.
All right. That's funny, though. They don't offer that. Again, just like the no-hitter prop that I had for 10 minutes, and then they pulled it. Maybe someone made a mistake. Did a lot of people bet that? When we brought it up, did people notice and bet it, and they got beat on it, and they realized that that's a dopey line? But I like that bet. We were hoping they would have it for NFL games. I didn't think they would, take it off the CFL games, right?
Yeah, I was completely shocked today, and I've gone back and I've looked over commercial break saying, okay, come on, they've got to put this line up, and they've just completely wiped it off the board for this game. So maybe we'll see it back in the next game, and you're probably right. I think people jumped on this when they saw it because I always look over all the different lines. It was the first time I had seen it yesterday, and I think they're going to need some adjustments out there because those 3 big plays, that cost them plus 255, and there was no big rushing plays out there. But if there was some groundwork, we could have seen 4 or 5 of those hits. So they've got to be careful with that prop, but I can't wait to NFL season, and I'm really hoping they have it out there, Scott, because I do think it'll be a moneymaker for us if they do.
Yeah. I don't doubt for a second, Joe, that bells and whistles go off on a particular bet. And a lot of these bets you can't bet no, right? I don't think you could have bet under on that. It was just it's either an over or a yes bet or nothing. So when they offer that, I think they see how many people bet the yes. If it hits, it's like, you know what? That's a wrong line. Or this is a bad bet. We better not do this. And maybe that's what happened last night. Who knows? So, but we'll see next week when we get some more CFL games. But I like that bet.
I feel like we should have just bet no out of principle, so we got the bet for the rest of the year, right? Like, come on.
Yeah.
I want those bets
just
up there.
Out.
So, yeah, exactly.
Like
I'm glad we were able to cash it yesterday.
Yeah, 1 step back, but 2 steps forward there. Yeah. People bet no. Sure. All right, so I'm looking at the baseball stuff. So we were talking about it last hour. They offered up an over-under. FanDuel did anyway. 268 home runs. Over the last 3 years for all competitors, all rounds. Last 3 years, they've averaged about 305, 310 home runs. And this is only 268 and a half. So what do we miss? We got to figure out what we're missing here. So I looked at the rules, and, I know it's not head-to-head, but you still have 8 guys batting. So if you use 8 guys in the first round, then they cut it to 4, then obviously they cut it to 2. So add it all up, you have 14 batters. If you divide 269 by 14, Joe, you need to get about 18 and a half home runs out of each guy. That sounds a little worse than what I'd rather have this 269, right? So is anyone going to get not 20 home runs? Yeah, that could definitely happen, right? But the numbers say it doesn't happen. So we'll talk about it when we come back in Game Live Prime Time.
One of the many exciting things about joining Live was being able to come here and play in front of a Spanish crowd, especially on level of event and level of competition that I hadn't really yet enjoyed, right? I've been able to play events in Spain.
Here in the beautiful Valderrama, which some say is the European Augusta, it's so special. There's so much history here. There's so much Spanish history here.
Well, it has so much history behind. It's only a 50-year-old club, but so much has happened through the years. I mean, we had the Ryder Cup, we had World Golf Championships, and now we have LIV.
It's very exciting, and really, if there was ever a place to get my first win, I feel like this would be the perfect week.
I feel like when there's this wind at this golf course is so difficult that it's equally stressful no matter when or where you're playing it. But it was fun. It's always fun to be back home and be with the home crowd. It's always a joy to have this many people supporting me all day. It's so much fun.
What the heck course were you playing today?
I don't know.
It's brutal out there.
It is brutal. I don't know. I just made everything I looked at, Jerry. You have those days. I suppose this was one of those days for me, so I really shouldn't. I really enjoyed it. Every time I stood over a putt, just felt like I could make it, and you don't get days like that too often, or certainly I don't. So yeah, I relished in it, and I managed to hit a lot of good shots as well. So it was a special day.
All right, it's in-game live, prime time here on the grid. Scott Wetzel and Joe Bad just updating the one baseball game, or maybe it's two that we have going on here as we're looking at some of the Hall of Fame, All-Star game stuff and Home Run Derby. But baseball, nope, it's all over, Joe. So did your Blue Jays win today, or did they blow the 8-7 lead?
Of course, they broke my wallet today, and they won that game 8-7 over the Diamondbacks. I really thought the Diamondbacks were going to get the win. I'm shocked that Vladdy was able to get that last home run that did get the win here for Toronto, because his bat has been cold over the last week. We haven't been able to see that run production out of him. So I guess congratulations to the Toronto Blue Jays for pulling off a win before the All-Star break. But Scott, I still am not a believer in this team.
Under 15.5 ended up hitting. Didn't look good. Yeah. It was 7-4. And I remember saying, even if Arizona came all the way back and won 8-7, it's still under 15.5. And then they tied it up, in the sixth inning. And it looked like, okay, that thing was going to blow by 15.5. And it didn't. So I got lucky with that one. 8-7 final is a scoring stop for the Diamondbacks. So, all right, so baseball is done. There's no Sunday Night Baseball tonight, which I think is really stupid. But, we thought it was maybe the All-Star game, but the four-letter network also has the soccer rights. So maybe that's why there's no Sunday Night Baseball, not because it's the All-Star break, because they got to have the soccer game, the Copa final on tonight. That's probably why. Although they could have played that this afternoon, right? If you're going to go head-to-head with the Euro Cup, why not just go head-to-head with the championship games as well? But anyway, so we're trying to figure out, more importantly than that, we're trying to figure out why the over-under in the Home Run Derby is so low. It's 268.5. They've averaged 300-plus home runs the last 3 years. This year they tweaked the rules a little bit, Joe, so they now have the first round, no head-to-head. Top four guys out of the 8 batters get to move on. I don't know if that's going to limit the amount of home runs guys hit or not. And we kind of reasoned it would kind of balance itself out. They have 3 minutes or 40 pitches. So now there's a limit on how many pitches can be thrown. But I don't think that's changed. I think it was always 3 minutes. So I don't, 3 minutes or 3 minutes, whether it's 40 pitches or 50. I don't think they're going to be swinging at, or not swinging at, that many pitches. So I don't think that's that much of a change. They still get a timeout. Untimed bonus period when they hit a home run. that travels 425 feet. They had that last year. They get an additional out to work with when they do that. I'm pretty sure they had something similar to that last year. Second round's a single bracket style. Competitors are seeded. Okay, that's no big deal. Rules for the round remain the same. Tiebreaker rules, longest home run remains the same. Final round remains largely the same, except the timeout limit is reduced. Oh, the time limit is reduced to 2 minutes, and the pitch is reduced to 27. Whoever hits the most home runs in this round is declared the champion. So instead of it being 3 rounds in the final round, they've cut it to 2. I think that seems to be the biggest change.
Yeah.
But I tell you, I still like that over 269 and 268 and a half.
I think it's just slightly too low, right?
Yeah.
15, 20 runs too low? I would think so.
Yeah.
I'm going to go over as well,
Yeah,
Scott. I like it. 268 and a half to the over. Minus 120 to the over?
I do. Yeah. I would go as like you said, like 10, 15 extra home run. I think they're going to get around 280, 285.
Yeah.
You know, that last round being a little shorter, but who cares? You know, there's always time. I don't. It's not that much shorter to me. There's only 2 batters. If the whole tournament was 2 minutes, then it's okay. I get it. But you're only talking 2 batters. So for 2 batters, you know, how many home runs would you really get in that last minute? 10, maybe 15, an extra 5 or 6 apiece. Yeah, I got a feeling we're going to look at this come Wednesday and say, man, we should have, or Tuesday, we should have bet this, tripled the bet. This should have been a Super Bowl bet. I mean, I just don't know.
Yeah.
In Texas, you got the local guy there. You got a Pete Alonso there. You got a lot of newbies there. I will say that, but I'll take my chances.
And the winner wins $1 million, right? The winner wins $1 million. So
Is that what it is?
looking at some of these newbies, yeah. The runner-up, $750,000. So you got to look at some of these newbies too, because Bobby Witt Jr., extra $1 million in his bank account. Got to love that.
Yeah.
Right?
For Kansas City Royal, you know, that's I don't know how much he's making this year, but I don't think it's that much. And if you look at who's going to be in it as far as baseball's leaders, we have no Aaron Judge because he's gutless. He's a stanky.
Yeah.
No Ohtani because he's hurt. But
I wasn't agreeing to gutless. I was agreeing that he wasn't in it, just to clarify for everyone.
No. He's gutless. He's got. Come on, this guy got 24 home runs. What's he do? He's not in there, really? What, you got afraid you're going to get hurt? What a joke. And they do a needle pat down, too, before the home run derby. So no Aaron Judge. Just separate issue completely. No Ohtani. But you got Gunnar Henderson, who's 3rd in home runs. You got Ozuna, in 4th in home runs.
Yeah.
We got Jose Ramirez, who's 6th in home runs. We got that's 3 in the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
We got Teoscar Hernandez, who's 14th in home runs. We got Alonso, who's 14th in home runs. I mean, so we got some pretty, you know, when you just look at the MLB leaders, we got, a lot of the main guys. They don't necessarily have as many home runs this year, but, they're all on pace for about 40 home runs. So, I don't know. As I said, I think it's a good bet. If it doesn't get there, we'll say, boy, they knew something. But in Texas at night, unless there's rain in the forecast, I'm going over 268.5, and I just got a funny feeling this time tomorrow, or at least as we get closer to the home run derby, I bet that number's easily in the 270s. Easily.
I agree.
All right, in-game live, prime time. We'll come back and check out the CFL and NFL stuff. How about that coming up next?
One of the many exciting things about joining Live was was being able to come here and play in front of a Spanish crowd, especially on a level of event and level of competition that I hadn't really yet enjoyed, right? I've been able to play events in Spain.
Here in the beautiful Valderrama, which some say is the European Augusta, it's so special. There's so much history here. There's so much Spanish history here.
Well, it has so much history behind. It's only a 50 years old club, but so much has happened through the years. I mean, we had the Ryder Cup, we had World Gold Championships, and now we have LIV.
It's very exciting, and really, if there was ever a place to get my first win, I feel like this would be the perfect week.
I feel like when this windy, this golf course is so difficult that it's equally stressful no matter when or where you're playing it. But it was fun. It's always fun to be back home and be with the home crowd. It's always a joy to have this many people supporting me all day. It's so much fun.
What the heck course were you playing today?
I don't know.
It's brutal out there.
It is brutal. I don't know. I just made everything I looked at, Jerry. You have those days. I suppose this was one of those days for me, so I really shouldn't. I really enjoyed it. Every time I stood over a putt, just felt like I could make it, and you don't get days like that too often, or certainly I don't. So yeah, I relished in it, and I managed to hit a lot of good shots as well. So it was a special day.
All right, welcome back. In-game live, prime time here on a Sunday evening, hour number 4 of our 4-hour extravaganza. Flying by. Well, I tell you what, it's been a fast 3.5 hours with really not that much going on, but we made some shekels along the way. Hopefully you have as well, as you followed our picks within the last 3.5 hours. So baseball is done. Just to kind of go over that real quickly before we get into maybe some NFL, and we got a little golf talk coming up here. Eric Lindquist will join us with the Scottish Open. We cashed a 50-1 ticket to Ching, and then of course we got the British Open, otherwise now known as the Open Championship, next week. So we'll do a little golf talk with Eric here in about 5 minutes, Joe. But as far as the baseball stuff, it is all in the bag. Yankees started off with an 11:30. Again, I'm not sure why. My bad. I guess I should know by now why that game started at 11:30, but it did. Orioles do win. I don't know if you saw how it ended. Oh, the Stankies. Well, what a lousy way to lose a baseball game, right? They get a 3-run homer from Ben Rice in the top of the 9th inning to grab a 5-3 lead, right? So they're thinking they're going to win. Orioles load the bases, bottom of the 9th, 2 out. Simple grounder to the shortstop that you and I could have made a play on. Gets botched by Volpe. That allows 1 run to score to cut the lead to 5-4. Then a simple little fly to left field in which the left fielder, Verdugo, for whatever reason, decides to run in, even though the ball was over his head, misplays it into a game-ending double, and the Orioles win 6-5. And what two plays, honestly, that little leaguers could have made blindfolded, and the Yankees blow it heading into the All-Star break on a downer. So it's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
I swear all of these teams find new ways to lose these games, Scott. It's so frustrating when you watch these games and see how they lose like that. And they've got to be frustrated with themselves. I know the Yankees wanted to go into the All-Star break with the win. So many teams wanting to do that, but it just wasn't the Yankees' day. The Seattle Storm and the Atlanta Dream are still in action. Third quarter right now. Just to update everyone, it is a 60-57 game for the Atlanta Storm. So that spread that was double digits before was like 14.5 going into this game. The Storm now only laying 6.5 at -108, Scott. I think that is a strong look. That total still sitting at 155.5 at -113 to the over. I'd go over before I went under.
Yep, it's basically right on pace. It started off to a halfway decent start. I saw it go to as high as 164.5, but now it's gone back down to the 155.5, which it was, when the game started. So you have 117 points entering the fourth quarter. So you need basically 40 points, 39 points. I still like the over in these things. When push comes to shove, I would go with the over. And I did like the Atlanta Dream, getting the 13.5, 12.5, 13.5, whatever it was. Like I said, I didn't love it, but if I had to pick a side, I would have played Atlanta plus the big points because they lose a lot, but they don't lose. They don't get blown out very many games. And Seattle wins a lot, but they don't blow a lot of people out. So that was a really fat number. So now I'd lay the 6.5 though. I do think Seattle ends up winning the game. Little minus 6.5 over parlay. Could you do that? Yeah, they allow you to do that. And that actually pays normal odds on a parlay, plus the 253. How about that? Real
like
odds
that.
on a computer. Yeah. So
that is great.
like
And then to update CFL really quick for you, Scott, the Red Blacks actually came out and got a field goal. They scored first in this game. It is a 3-0 game. Now, FanDuel hasn't reflected the adjustment with the Red Blacks scoring. It's still Edmonton laying minus 196 on that money line. So really can't go there. They're still laying the 3.5 at minus 114, but they are driving down the field. They're 1st and 10 on their 48-yard line. So we'll see if Edmonton can go down there and score. They're going to need to in this one, especially with Ottawa scoring first.
All right. The Scottish Open finished up earlier today, and this is one of those situations, a rare one where, not my mistake, but my little whatever worked in my favor because, Joe, you and I did the show last night, 4 to 8, and I told people that I had a 50-1 ticket, a couple shekels, thanks to Cam Stewart, give credit where credit is due, on Montgomery, who was in second place 2 shots back. McIntyre, whatever, right? So I had it on the guy. What did I say, Montgomery? Yeah, I keep on saying Montgomery. Montgomery, McIntyre, McInfish, whatever. So I was going to hedge today, figured, all right, we'll discuss it during the show, final round, right? And lo and behold, I forgot about the time change and everything else. And by the time we got on the air, the tournament was over, and he ended up winning. So we'll talk a little golf with Eric Lindquist, see if he had a 50-1 underdog today.
One of the many exciting things about joining Live was being able to come here and play in front of a Spanish crowd, especially on a level of event and level of competition that I hadn't really yet enjoyed, right? I've been able to play events in Spain.
Here in the beautiful Valderrama, which some say is the European Augusta. It's so special. There's so much history here. There's so much Spanish history here.
Well, it has so much history behind. It's only a 50-year-old club, but so much has happened through the years. I mean, we had the Ryder Cup, we had World Gold Championships, and now we have LIV.
It's very exciting, and really, if there was ever a place to get my first win, I feel like this would be the perfect week.
I feel like when this wind at this golf course is so difficult that it's equally stressful no matter when or where you're playing it. But it was fun. It's always fun to be back home and be with the home crowd. It's always a joy to have this many people supporting me all day. It's so much fun.
What the heck course were you playing today?
I don't know.
It's brutal out there.
It is brutal. I don't know. I just made everything I looked at, Jerry. You have those days. I suppose this was one of those days for me, so I really shouldn't. I really enjoyed it. Every time I stood over a putt, just felt like I could make it, and you don't get days like that too often, or certainly I don't. So yeah, I relished in it, and I managed to hit a lot of good shots as well. So it was a special day.
All right, welcome back. In-game live, prime time here on the grid. Scott Wetzel and Joe Madden, 32 past the hour. Hour number 4, talking a little golf, a little baseball stuff going on with the Home Run Derby tomorrow, the All-Star Game on Saturday. So let's bring in our next guest. You see him and hear him from time to time here on the grid, especially with us, Eric Lindquist. Eric, what's going on, my friend? How are you on this Sunday evening?
Doing all right. I'm sweating. Actually, Harry Hall, I didn't see what happened in this alternate event, but I ended up having a pretty small play on him that could end up paying out pretty large. Some of these alternate field PGA events are some of my favorite to be betting. And so I'm watching a 4 or 5 man playoff that's going on here over there. That's going to be a fun one to finish out sweating. But otherwise, eyes turn to the All-Star Game and the Open Championship this week. Excited for everything.
Well, is there anything live we can jump in on that one right now, or are we just going to sweat out your ticket at the moment? No value otherwise?
Yeah, sweating out my ticket and sweating against all of my friends who have Pierceson Cootie. This is a kid that's a pretty good young talent from Texas that hasn't had a great season on the PGA Tour, but he made about a 20-footer for birdie on 18 to make his way into this playoff at 22 under. And so we've got, 5 guys going at it right now. It's a bit of a sweat here on the alternate side. Those are always fun numbers to jump on earlier in the week. I mean, 80-1, 70-1 numbers on guys that you've never heard of. Really fun stuff. But yeah, small play on Harry Hall that I'm excited about.
All right, so we got the Open Championship next week. Before we get to that, we got the Scottish Open that finished up today. Robert McIntyre, a 50-1 ticket that I must say Cam Stewart, who joined us during the week, gave us on Wednesday, hit. So your thoughts on the Scottish Open today?
Cam Stewart knows things, so that is fantastic. Robert McIntyre, he's a Scottish, he's the hometown hero guy coming in, putting it down. He did it at the Canadian Open up in Joe's territory there in Canada, and then found a way here in Scotland. Fantastic stuff from Robert McIntyre. Love the story. He ended up getting a phenomenal fortuitous drop over on 17 that ended up leading to an eagle that got him up there, and then makes the birdie putt on 18. But you still have to make the putts, and that's what it all comes down to here over in England. You get some of these slower greens up in Scottish territory up north, and, well, we'll be looking at that at Royal Troon as well. But the guy has had some unbelievable form with the irons here of late, and those can be things that lead you to, if you're finding fairways, can lead you to victory here on a golf course that's truly a second shot golf course, and that'll be the case again with Royal Troon this time around.
Okay, so what are we looking here going into the Open Championship? Scotty Scheffler coming in as a favorite right now, plus 450. Is that enough value for you to get behind him, or who else are you looking at?
So as a golf bettor for 9-10 years of my life, value does not really sound like plus 450, plus 500, that's for sure. But Scotty Scheffler's earned it. I mean, he's number one across the board in pretty much every statistical category. Him and Rory McIlroy, the only guys that you're looking at underneath 10-1 here on the odds board. It's hard for me to look at Bryson DeChambeau and not think that if I'm going to go to anybody on the short odds side of things, that I wouldn't be going to him, because he's one of the most underrated putters. Yes, everybody talks about his distance, but underrated putters that exists in the entire game of golf, and routinely made putts there at that Open Champion or the U.S. Open Championship. If he goes overseas here and lights it up with the flat stick again, the guy is just so spot on here with the driver, puts himself in territory that you really don't see other players hitting from on a day-to-day basis. I mean, he's just kind of a cheat code if he has the putter rolling. So Bryson DeChambeau, probably the only guy. I haven't pulled the trigger yet, but if I do inside of 20-1, he would be it.
All right, listen, Weatherman can't tell me, Eric, what's going to happen an hour from now. But still, that said, have you looked at the forecast for next week? Because, the classic British Open or Open Championship, they're calling it, right? I want wind gusts and rain coming down, like Caddyshack with the priest who's on the fairway, the raincoat. That, to me, is the British Open. We're going to get that out. Let's hope we don't get sunny, beautiful skies.
So for my 37th birthday, I'm going to Scotland in September, which I'm pretty excited about. I'm playing St. Andrews, the old course, the new course, Carnoustie, a couple of different spots out there that I'm very excited about. But weather looks awesome again. It was awesome this weekend. I looked ahead, was trying to see if there was anything on the 7-day that could lead us to some issues, but I don't see it here at the moment. There's one day, Saturday, that looks like it could get a little bit blustery, but not relative to typical Scottish 15, 20, 25 mile per hour winds. It's basically 10 to 15 here sustained throughout the afternoons on Friday, Saturday. So it's going to be pretty benign. I think that makes you really look at a condensed up the top of the board. I think that's something inside of 40 to 1, 50 to 1 you want to be paying very close attention to, because if you play golf in a bubble, the best players in the world rise to the top a lot of the time. You get some of these crazy conditions where, Rory McIlroy's slamming 2 irons and getting upset here and there. You can see a field really condense. Somebody can get hot with a flat stick and find their way to the top. But I'm going to be looking probably on the shorter end of the odds for this week because, again, looks pretty nice now. That can change on the flip of a coin here out there, but as of right now, looks all right.
What can you tell us about this course for anyone that doesn't know about it? What kind of golfer does it really favor out there?
So Royal Troon is an interesting one. You get a lot of these par fours that you're going to have the forced iron shots that you're hitting at about 225, 250. A lot shorter than your typical 300, 325s that you're looking at. A lot of run out as well. It's a second shot golf course. That's kind of what we've seen from the first couple Open Championships. And I think that's going to be a big part of my profile modeling golfers out this week. And Bryson DeChambeau doesn't even necessarily fit the iron mold, but there's spots where he's able to hit a 6 iron 225 to some of these shorter carry spots on these par fours and set himself up for success. So for me, it's going to be very much iron heavy, probably looking at guys that have played well in Open Championships here in the past as well, because Royal Troon, you get some tighter driving holes in spots, but for the most part, it's going to be very straightforward golf where I'm looking for the guys who can put the ball close to the hole, because 9-10 footers, a lot easier to make over there in Europe than they are here in the States.
All right, Eric Lindquist joining us, fantasy betting analyst for Stokastic.com, OddsShopper.com as well. Big baseball guy, Eric. So Joe and I, we were looking at the All-Star Game and a home run derby, and they're kind of goofy, right? But explain to me the last 3 home run derbies, on average, we've had about 305, 310 home runs. They're giving us an over-under of 268.5. Now, I have not looked into it that much. I know they tweaked the rules a little bit, but is that a bad number, or did they do something with the rules that really would cut into our home run total? That's for all rounds, all players.
So I'm a big fan of jumping on odds early. When these dropped and I started parsing through them, it felt like very thin to be looking at, but everybody wants to find something. So I'm going to throw Bobby Witt Jr. out there. The reliance that you've had on pitchers just routinely finding the strike zone and giving hitters freebies here, I think that gets a little bit diminished here with some of the rule changes. And kind of one of the edges you can find in betting anything is just understanding the rules. Understand the rules of your books, understand the rules of what you're betting for. And going through this, it feels as though with the 40 pitch, this is the way that I understand it at least, you have a 40 pitch maximum that you're running into on the specific rounds. I think that this favors anybody that if you're looking at like their hot zones specifically over on Baseball Savant or things of that nature, you're just trying to find somebody, you don't know who's going to be throwing them the ball necessarily, but somebody who hits all parts of the plate here routinely, because in 40 pitches, there's going to be mistakes done by these pitchers throwing to them. So Bobby Witt Jr. is one guy who can hit from every single portion of the plate, and he's getting at least a number, plus 700, plus 750, kind of been the prevailing numbers on him all week. I think he can cover it against whatever pitches are being thrown his way. I know that that's strange analysis to give for a home run derby, but I think it probably applies. Pete Alonso, I mean, he's the favorite for a reason. He's been here. He's done that multiple times. I think from a history perspective, hard to bet against him if you're looking for something that's quote unquote guaranteed. But I think Bobby Witt Jr. has the most value on the board.
All right, there you go, Bobby Witt Jr. Eric Lindquist, fantasy betting analyst, Stokastic.com, OddsShopper.com. As always, Eric, good job, man. I appreciate it.
One of the many exciting things about joining Live was was being able to come here and play in front of a Spanish crowd, especially on a level of event and level of competition that I hadn't really yet enjoyed, right? I've been able to play events in Spain.
Here in the beautiful Valderrama, which some say is the European Augusta, it's so special. There's so much history here. There's so much Spanish history here.
Well, it has so much history behind. It's only a 50-year-old club, but so much has happened through the years. I mean, we had the Ryder Cup, we had World Golf Championships, and now we have LIV.
It's very exciting, and really, if there was ever a place to get my first win, I feel like this would be the perfect week.
I feel like when this wind in this golf course is so difficult that it's equally stressful no matter when or where you're playing it. But it was fun. It's always fun to be back home and be with the home crowd. It's always a joy to have this many people supporting me all day. It's so much fun.
What the heck course were you playing today?
I don't know.
It's brutal out there.
It is brutal. I don't know. I just made everything I looked at, Jerry. You have those days. I suppose this was one of those days for me, so I relished it. I really enjoyed it. Every time I stood over a putt, just felt like I could make it, and you don't get days like that too often, or certainly I don't. So I relished in it, and I managed to hit a lot of good shots as well. So it was a special day.
Hi, welcome back. In-game live, prime time here on the grid. Thanks for Eric Lindquist joining us. Again, oddshopper.com, stokastic.com as well. And my never-ending search, Joe, to find why we are getting such a low number continues there. I asked him, but he was more concerned with giving us Bobby Witt Jr., which now he's the second person that's given us Bobby Witt Jr., right? I mean, this guy's going to get knocked out in the first round. You wait and see. So, one guy tweeted at me that the second round and third rounds, you only have 3 outs. I don't know about it. That went from 10 outs to 3 outs. They dropped it that much. I don't think that's right. I'm looking. Every article that's got the rules, give me this whole dissertation. Just give me the freaking rules, right? So last year, no formal maximum number of pitchers. I'm not worried about the 40 pitches that Eric brought up. That's... I'm not worried about that. I think they'll get just as many home runs. First 2 rounds will still be 3 minutes. The final round will be 2 minutes, as was the case before 2024. But now there's a maximum number of pitches in each round, blah, 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 blah. I'm not worried about that. 27 pitches into 2 minutes. So last year, an automatic 30 seconds of extra time granted to each batter. Then beyond that, a hitter could also earn additional 30 seconds, giving him 60 total seconds. This year, who cares about last year? This year, bonus pitches are different in terms of how they're acquired. Instead of getting 30 seconds of extra time, each player now gets bonus pitches up until they record 3 outs within that bonus period. What the fudge? You got to be a brain surgeon. It's a stinking home run derby. My goodness, don't make it so complicated. Just say here you got 3 minutes. Hit it off a freaking tee if you need to, right? I mean, this is just like if a player hits a home run of at least 425 feet, then the bonus period is extended to last until the player records his 4th out. So that's where I think the Twitter guy told me about the 3 outs. I think, I don't know. I'll bet the over. You know what? If the rules are so screwed up, I don't want to wait. Yeah, it's an hour to try and figure out the rules for a stupid home run hitting contest, for goodness sakes. I mean, my goodness. This is stuff.
You would think if anything, they want more home runs than less home runs, and they want to extend this thing out, Scott. But it seems like they want the opposite with all of these rules they're putting in place. Do they just want to speed it up and get through it? I don't understand why they would want to do that. You would think they would want more people drawn into the home run derby. I know it brings a lot of people, and these guys are excited to get out there and try to beat each other getting these home runs. So I'm hoping it goes over. I'm still going to ride with the over. 268.5 in this one.
Yeah, I think that's a bad number. Like I said, they have a couple of goofy rules in it, but who the heck really can figure this out? Honestly. So if in doubt, go over. Because when they hit the 325 home runs like they should hit, you're going to be kicking yourself. And then tomorrow, if they offer adjusted totals on this stuff, I'd go, like I said, I'd go as high as 300. Maybe, who knows, if they're willing to offer me even more than that. We had, 341 last year? We had, 341 last year. So why not? You could get the 325, 330. You want to give me 10-1 on that? I'll take it. I definitely will.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you got to look at that for sure.
Update? What do we got? CFL action. Anything going on?
Yeah, the Edmonton Elks were able to put a touchdown on the board.
Nice.
So we have a game here. We have a 7-3 game for the Edmonton Elks, and they are actually driving with the ball. They are 2nd and 9 on Ottawa's 39. So we need a big play here out of Bethel Thompson getting that ball moving so they convert on this one. But I do think they will, and I do think he's going to get his rhythm behind him, and we'll see Edmonton be able to get the win here. Now, everything is locked up, so no live betting right now, but if you missed it before and you can jump in on your book, I'm looking at Bethel Thompson to go over the 2.5 passing touchdowns. That touchdown was a passing touchdown that he already got, and his over on his passing yards in this game as well. That was 310.5, Scott.
All right, there you go. So basically over, and keep on betting the overs, and hopefully we continue to get some points here. So NFL football. Preseason camps open up this week around the NFL. Should be a lot of fun. So my goal, Joe, is to put in at least one bet for every single team in the preseason. FanDuel, anyway, and I'm sure all the other sites offer up team specials. And they list about 15 or so, and there's other ways you can bet it. But if you just go into that category, you got a bunch of goofy bets. So why don't we just start with your LA Chargers, right? Since you're a Chargers fan, we'll get to my Dolphins, and we'll go from there. Hit NFL icon. Then along the top there, and all the way at the end, you'll see that's the very last icon, team specials. And then you'll see all the teams. And then you hit the LA Chargers, and then you get, like I said, about 15 of those prop bets. And let's see if we can find some. You know me, I need value, not value, but I need odds. I like to call it odds in addition to my winning bet for the most part. So how about the LA Chargers to have a passing touchdown in every regular season game, 30-1 with Jimmy Harbaugh? And
yeah,
Justin
because
Herbert.
Who's Justin Herbert going to throw it to? That's my biggest concern this year for the LA Chargers is we let Keenan Allen walk away to the Chicago Bears, and I have no faith in this team right now. So I can't bet it, Scott. What about the Chargers to win a game in Las Vegas against the Raiders? That's even going to be a hard one. That's plus 200.
Yeah, that's to win on the road and at home. So both. You got to sweep that series.
Oh, sorry, missed the home as well.
Yeah, if 2-1, I don't like those odds. You know, I don't think the Chargers. Yeah, that's no good. How about boy? I tell you, one touchdown versus one passing touchdown goes from passing touchdown. What I say it was 30-1 to plus 220. Are the Chargers going to go a game, Joe, without scoring a touchdown?
They very well could. I don't want to say no. They're not.
They're not going to be that bad, are they?
I don't know. Harbaugh really needs to turn this team around.
one of the many exciting things about joining Live was being able to come here and play in front of a Spanish crowd, especially on a level of event and level of competition that I hadn't really yet enjoyed, right? Been able to play events in Spain.
Here in the beautiful Valderrama, which some say is the European Augusta. It's so special. There's so much history here. There's so much Spanish history here.
Well, it has so much history behind. It's only a 50 years old club, but so much has happened through the years. I mean, we had the Ryder Cup, we had World Gold Championships, and now we have Live.
It's very exciting, and really, if there was ever a place to get my first win, I feel like this would be the perfect week.
I feel like when this wind at this golf course is so difficult that it's equally stressful no matter when or where you're playing it. But it was fun. It's always fun to be back home and be with the home crowd. It's always a joy to have this many people supporting me all day. It's so much fun.
What the heck course were you playing today?
I don't know.
It's brutal out there.
It is brutal. I don't know. I just made everything I looked at, Jerry. You have those days. I suppose this was one of those days for me, so I really shouldn't. I really enjoyed it. Every time I stood over a putt, just felt like I could make it, and you don't get days like that too often, or certainly I don't. So yeah, I relished in it, and I managed to hit a lot of good shots as well. So it was a special day.
All right, welcome back. In-game live, primetime here on the grid. Scott Wetzel, Joe Madden with the baseball done. We got the little CFL action, the little WNBA action. Actually, you haven't checked that out here in a second as they're heading to the fourth quarter in the W, as they like to call it. And then we're checking out some NFL stuff. So NFL, back to that, Joe. Well, let me just hold on a second. I'll give you WNBA, it's 81-70. Seattle leading with 59 seconds left. So the original number was right around 13.5. The over-under was right around 155.5. So you're coming down to the nitty-gritty. It's got to be close either way. Hopefully we get a couple more buckets and they just don't run out the final seconds of the clock here. Nothing worse than that. So we'll let you know on that. All right, so did you isolate? Give me one Charger bet that if you had to do right now in those team specials, where are you going?
Yeah, it would be Justin Herbert for 5+ rushing touchdowns over the regular season. That's coming in at plus 430. I'm just concerned about his ability to throw that ball to someone out there. And I think he'll be caught in a lot of those situations, and especially until he gets comfortable with his wide receivers out there to get them the ball. So 5+ rushing touchdowns in the regular season for Justin Herbert at plus 430 for me, Scott.
All right. I'll go conservative on this one, and I will say the Chargers score a touchdown in every game plus 220. There were only 2 games last year, but their quarterback situation was a mess. We all know that. It's really difficult for a team not to have, at least one touchdown, whether it's a blowout game or it really is. So I think the Chargers will get at least one touchdown, so plus 220 there. Dolphins, I'll go to my team, Miami. They're giving you plus 110 to score a touchdown in every game. It's not great value. I mean, I got to get at least 2 to 1, but I would be hard-pressed to see the Dolphins not score at least one touchdown. But I'll stay away from that because it's just not worth me putting my money away on that one. I will do Dolphins to score one passing touchdown every game at 12 to 1, though. That I like.
It's a really strong bet. I really like that 1+ passing touchdown in every game. I like Tua, and I like his ability to move that ball up and down the field. So I think that is a very strong one. What about Tua to throw 40+ passing touchdowns in the regular season, Scott? That's coming in at plus 1,400 40 plus. We got to average 2 touchdowns, just over 2 touchdowns a game. I like that. I think you've got fantastic wide receivers there. And I think it has every possibility of hitting at plus 1,400. I'm going to hit on that one as well.
The only reason I would stay, what do you have last year? He had 29 last year, so it's a big jump up. But that said, I think he could get there, Joe, but I wouldn't bet any Tua props just because there's a pretty good chance he's going to get hurt this year. And you bet any of these props, it doesn't. You don't get your money back if he doesn't play or if he, misses some games. So, yeah, I'd stay away from that one. I'd stay away from any Tua props this year.
Defensive
He didn't get hurt last year. He's overdue.
Yeah, what about
to
a
get
defensive? Yeah, Jalen Ramsey to record 5+ interceptions in the regular season, plus 380. I love a good defensive prop. What do you think of that one?
Yeah, I gotta have more mods on that. I gotta have not necessarily that one. If I'm gonna put this stuff away, I'm gonna literally, I'll pick one from every team, and I'll go conservative on some. But there are certain teams like Miami that I won't go conservative on. I'll give me the bigger odds on that one. So I'll take the one. Like I said, the Dolphins have a passing touchdown at 12-1. How about the world champs, Kansas City? Let's go with the Chefs. See what they got. Kansas City to score a touchdown in every game, minus 145. Is KC, as long as Mahomes stays healthy, not going to score a touchdown in every game? Who wants to lay a $145? But
I know.
What do you think about that?
I don't want to lay that much juice, especially on a bet that is going to have my money for the whole season. I just can't get there.
The whole season.
Right? The whole season, not just like a half of it.
Hedge.
So,
no way to hedge that. Right? You can't really hedge that. So that's one thing about these things. Kansas City to have a field goal in every game, 18-1.
It's not bad.
I can see that not really hitting. But I like these. We got more time. I thought we'd have more time today, but we had the no-hitter and everything. So, but we'll look at these a little closer as the season gets closer and closer to starting. So, Joe, great job as always. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, and we'll do it again next week.
See you next week, Scott. Thanks, everyone. Best of luck on your tickets.